Hello and a very good evening and welcome to the Hampton Netball Show. Round 16 coming up, 3 rounds to go. Still plenty of action going on in the Hampton League ladder with the way the top 5 is going to set themselves out. So hopefully over the next week or two we can really see what our first week of finals is going to look like. Great to be back in the host chair after last week, but I must admit, I was impressed by my 2 co-hosts in the work they did last week, so a big round of applause to you, even though I did think that Kate, a little bit tough on me old mate here, just give her a little bit too much grief.
Oh, it was fun. I'm definitely a lot more relaxed this week though. Trish and I had a pep talk before and we just thought, let's just give it a crack, and I've had some good feedback that we actually did quite well.
No, you did super.
It was a good mix of humour and talking netball.
How are you, Trish? How's the week been?
Yeah, good. I've been to Melbourne and back, and back into work today. So.
And I know Kate's very impressed with your edits and so forth, and what you've done in readiness for the show tonight.
I don't think they can be blown off.
Can't blow away my notes tonight.
Hey guys, big show tonight. We've got a couple of great guests. We've got Amy Hammond from the Cobden Bombers and also Holly Castledine from Terrain Mortlake. We're going to go to Cobden and catch up with Amy Hammond. Amy, thanks for jumping on tonight. Really appreciate your time.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Hey buddy, great to have you back into the competition. How have you enjoyed being back in the Hampton League in 2023?
Yeah, good. Obviously I had a late start by having a baby. So I've only come back the last 7 or 8 weeks maybe. But yeah, it's good. It's fun. I like being back with the girls. So yeah.
And Amy, when we talk about Cobden, one of the words that comes to mind is depth, and that's been used a lot throughout the year. Do you think that's almost a secret weapon coming into finals, knowing that you know your side can line up in a number of different ways?
Yeah, I guess depth is always good. It's always good to have depth where you can make any changes that you need, and it's not going to make a big difference on the court if you do make a change. We have now settled our teams, but with taking 9 and 9, we still have that depth on the bench to come on, and I think that hopefully it will work in our benefit this year in the finals for both Open and Div 1, and hopefully it works and we can finally win a grand final.
That was exactly what I was going to ask. You know, have you settled your sides? We know now we're at counting quarters from now on after round 10, and it'll make a big difference, I guess. Now you've got 9. I don't even know. Hate to ask who's your starting 7, but has that been decided, or does that just depend on who you play?
I'm not sure about like the starting 7, like the best 7. I'm not sure if that's been finalised or not yet. But we've picked 9 for Open and 9 for Div 1. Or Div 1 might have 10. They might have 1 junior. I'm not sure. But depending on, like, Alicia Blaine's still coming back from an injury, so we've had a Div 1 play. So they are settled, but they're not settled, I guess.
And obviously leading up into the last few weeks and then before finals, and it's probably most likely the way the ladder's shaping up, you guys will play a qualifying final. So, method and structure and so forth, obviously, having continuity with your lineup and your set 9. How do you feel the girls are tracking at the moment leading into the last month of netball before, I guess, the finals campaign starts?
Yeah, good. I think they were doing really, really well, and then we had a bit of a lull. There was 4 or 5 weeks where we were playing not probably our best netball, and now we're starting to come good again. We're enjoying it. There's a lot more fun. I think in the last probably 3 or 4 weeks has come about more enjoyment, which is helping us on the court to not be so serious and yell at each other and whatever. We're just having fun, and I think it's paying off, and hopefully that's happening at the right time of the year, and it's going to go into finals and we'll be happy and up and about in the finals.
I love hearing you mention that word fun, because we are a sport, and it's no one's professional. Well, we're all out there having a good time. But how have you found coming back into the league, Amy, since leaving? Like, have we gone 1 or 2 seasons?
Well, I had a baby. I had Elsie, so I missed pretty much a full season, and then I went to Colac.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2, yeah.
So how are you finding it?
It's been good. It's definitely a different standard of netball between GFL and Hampton. I was only playing B grade at Colac, so it's probably pretty similar to Hampton A grade, I guess. But yeah, it's good. I don't know. I just like playing netball now. It's fun. It's time away from my children. So anywhere I play, I like it.
Amy, I've got 4 quick questions for you. So just answer whatever comes to your mind. So who's your toughest individual opponent?
I'll have to think back from previous years. I haven't played much this year. I always hated playing on Carly Pulling. I know she's not here anymore, but
Little pocket rocket.
yes.
Now, I probably know the answer to this second question, but I don't know the margin. Who's your premiership prediction and by what margin?
I'll have to say Cobden. And maybe by 4.
4. Who's your Dot Jenkins medal prediction?
Ali O'Connor or Amy Wormald.
And who's a young gun at your club that we should keep an eye
on? Nikki Clovis started playing a bit of Div 1 in the goal shooter. Matilda Darcy's another one that's played a little bit of Div 1.
You're pretty spoiled out there with really good juniors, aren't you?
Yeah, it is good.
Hey Amy, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Obviously the Bombers against the Port Fairy Seagulls this weekend. It is our Hampton League Live match of the day in the football as well. So Ames, thanks for jumping on. Great to have you back in the league, buddy, and we wish the Bombers and yourself all the best over the next few weeks.
No worries, thank you.
Thanks, Amy Hammond, I should say. I was going to show
She did say Amy Wormald.
She did say Amy Hammond, and I'll tell you what, from memory, obviously a great former winner of the Dot Jenkins medal and that as well.
Yeah.
Great speech when she got up and won it too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it was one of my favourites. When I've interviewed Amy, she had a couple of drinks, and I'll tell you what, it was fantastic. And
they had a big day that day.
Yeah, they did. The girls, they always do have a bit of fun.
Great player, and I'm really glad she's back in our league. She adds a lot to our league, and as she said, she's only played 8 games, but I think we'll see the best of her in finals.
And there's not many clubs that have specialist wing attacks. Like it's not really a position now that is like that there's a whole heap of stock for. So I think for Cobden to be able to have such a versatile team, but then know that they've got a really reliable specialist wing attack is going to be huge for them.
It's big.
Sophie Hinkley would have just loved the phone call saying, hey, Jessie's back playing footy. Amy's going to come back and play netball. 8 weeks.
Be a good call.
Not a bad recruit mid-season. Terrific.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go out to Terang Mortlake. We're going to have a chat with our guest tonight, Holly Castledine. Holly, thanks for jumping on tonight. Really appreciate your time.
Hi guys, thanks for having me.
Great to have you on, buddy. Obviously, getting to the close to the end of the season, we've seen some great netball from the Bloods and some weeks where it's probably been a little bit harder, but I reckon it's probably been a success under a new coach. A lot of new young players coming through. How have you sort of seen the season for the Bloods?
Yeah, it's been great. Like we've probably, same as Cobden, we've had a bit of a lull and we dropped a few games that we probably shouldn't have, that were close. That were probably pretty vital. Under Shani and Amy Maloney being around the club, their presence and guidance is just phenomenal, and they've played such a big role this year. So that's been great.
I saw you play on the weekend, Holly, and I haven't seen you play in District League before, but I was really impressed with your game and thought you were really tough for the 60 minutes. How has the adjustment been dealing with probably more of a physical game, but also the intensity, I imagine, is a step up from what you've experienced?
Oh, it's a massive difference and change. Yeah, I'm still sort of adjusting to it, but starting to find my groove now, hopefully. Yeah, it's been good though.
Tell us a little bit, Holly, about your juniors, where you came through, and some of your good coaches that you've had along the way.
Yeah. So I started young juniors down at Timboon, and then I followed Rachel Mungine to Camperdown. So I had a few years at Camperdown, I think under 17s for 2 years. I actually had Rachel and then Billy Marnie. And then for seniors, came back to Timboon. I followed Leah Sinnott back to Timboon. So yeah, I've had Leah as a coach as well. I've had some pretty good coaches. I've been very lucky.
Hey Holly, I noticed this week you've been named in the Western Region Open squad for this year's competition as well, which is great. So another little feather in your cap.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited. I think, it's nerve-wracking, but I think under Megan, I'm excited to get a bit of different coaching as well. Like she's so determined and just so into her netball. I'm excited to get a bit extra from her. Yeah.
Holly, a few quick questions for you. Who's been your toughest individual opponent this year?
Every week's tough, but I reckon M Finch would have to be toughest.
I think she's high on a lot of people's lists.
Absolutely.
Give people a headache playing on Finchy. Such a good shooter.
Yeah.
Who's
She
your
is.
premiership prediction and by what margin?
Or I'm gonna say South, as everyone else has, but I reckon that there's gonna be an underdog that'll really take it up to them this year, hopefully. But I reckon South will come on top by maybe 5, hopefully. Like, I reckon it'll be close.
Close
yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Who's your Dot Jenkins medal prediction?
Oh, I reckon maybe someone from like Koroyd or Warrnambool, so maybe like a Layla Monk or Amy Wormold, I reckon.
And final one, who is, I know that your open side is filled with some wonderful juniors. Who is someone maybe that we don't see in the open side yet that you think may be there in a year or two?
There's a few under 15s coming through. Holly Jones has played a bit of goalkeeper with me in the ring, and I reckon she's one to watch.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Hey, Holly, really appreciate your time. I know that my great friend here, Kate's been annoying you for the last couple of weeks to get you on the show, so we're glad that we've had you on, and great to share your journey with the Bloods, and we look forward to seeing you over the next couple of weeks, but also too back at hopefully the Bloods next year and seeing the Bloods push up that ladder.
Yeah, hopefully next year's our year. Thank you.
Beautiful work, Holly Castledine, our guest, and I love it. Like, I'm big on the kids or the young ones that are playing football in the district league that want to give the Hampton League a go. But I love it when you hear of a Holly Castledine who's played in that district league in the A-grade competition that wants to give their netball a bit more of a push and play in the Hampton League as well.
I don't know how many years she played at Timboon
Oh, a
for.
few. Yeah, I reckon.
And it's because her name has definitely been around the netball ranks for a number of years, but it's often the step up is very different, the intensity is different, as she spoke to, and the fact that she's featured in her best players for Terang for pretty much most weeks just goes to show how good of a netballer she is.
I think from memory, she started playing A-grade netball pretty young. So obviously she's had the conditioning of playing that top level netball from a young age. So obviously that's probably held her in good stead for a good transition.
She mentioned she played at Camperdown in the 17s and then went across there. So I imagine
and playing under Wayne Sinnott as well.
Yeah, great coach too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey guys, last weekend was the final round of the split round. So we had 3 games. We've got highlights for 2. So we'll look through those highlights and then we'll sort of talk about the other game. I think we're a little bit late with production trying to get the final game's highlights, but we'll try and get all the highlights on over the next couple of weeks. So we'll go to the first game, which we're going to look at, and I think it is North Warrnambool taking on the Port Fairy Seagulls. It's actually, we're going to look at South Warrnambool taking on Terang Mortlake. And Kate, you were up at this game, and the Roosters won 57-38. A good showing by the Bloods.
Yeah, it was. It was a pretty tight game, actually, and conditions were really good. So it was, a tight game up until probably that midway through, and then South put the foot down. They were without Ali O'Connor and also
Holly
Phillips. She was out on the weekend, precautionary, could have played, but you know what, why risk it this time of the year?
Tell me about the goal shooter they had in there. So they had a girl from Melton, I'm led to believe, or somewhere around that way.
Sophie O'Shea, just a really good friend of Will's. So, he worded her up and asked her to come down, and she was brilliant.
Prospective recruit for next year, or?
I don't know. I haven't got that intel further. Big commute for her, but yeah, she was fantastic and fit into the side pretty seamlessly. But they were, South were good. Annie Blackburn's volume has increased in this back half of the season. Really tough for defenders to come up against 2 shooters that are firing. And for Terang, well, Holly was really impressive. She's such a clean player, and she reads the play really well. She's, very rarely out of play, and her closing speed is fantastic. So it was, a good game from Terang, but I think they would have been disappointed they couldn't trim that margin slightly.
Yeah.
Let's go to the other game, which is North Warrnambool taking on the Port Fairy Seagulls. Trish, you were over at this one, and a good scoring Effort by Port Fairy, they shot 35, but the Eagles were far too strong with 62.
Really in the second half, Port Fairy took it up to North Warrnambool in the first half and played some really good netball. North tried lots of different things on the weekend and tried people in different positions, so they took that opportunity to see how different combinations might work, and really in the second half they sort of stormed home. I really was impressed with a few of the. I liked. I've got my notes. Hang on, so I don't get my names wrong here. and Port Fairy tried lots of different people too. Some additive one up in there. They had a few injuries, unfortunately for them. So a few people went off injured. So I don't know who will run out this weekend for them because they had quite a few injuries. But I liked Laura Coffey's game. I think she's really improved what I've seen from when she was in juniors, and really stood very tall against pretty strong defence for North on the weekend.
She's been in the best the last few weeks too, I reckon.
Yeah, and I was really impressed with her.
Ollie Coolahan in wing attack. We spoke about her last week, and she got a best on court performance.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, so she was. Her feed in and out. She does a lot of work out around the top of the in the middle third, and then around the top of the ring, and feeds in really well. So
she a junior or a?
No, she's a first year at Port Fairy. So
she's
really good
down
for
here
her.
from
Trish, correct me if I'm wrong. I saw a Butters, and at first I thought, gosh,
Trish is
helping out. Grace Butters.
Yeah.
What happened? Tell us about that.
North were a little bit short. Ash Ferguson was sick during the week, and they asked her to sit on the bench. So she came on the end of the second quarter and actually made a bit of an impact.
Second best.
Yeah, made quite an
must
impact
have been doing
in
the
there.
votes.
No, not me, nothing to do with it. But I thought she combined really well with Maisie Barlow across that line, and they played space really well there. So
how's her knee?
Well, that's her first senior game since she did her knee 2 years ago. So she was a bit worried about it, but no, pulled up really well after playing a game in Div 1 as well. So
good on her.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
And Trish, no Maddie Vardy. What do we know about that?
Maddie's got a calf injury. Hopes to be back in a couple of weeks.
They just haven't had quite the right run yet, have they, with injuries?
No.
Obviously, they were sort of looking like they were going to have a really healthy list, and then obviously Maisie had her few weeks away with an injury.
They're managing Sky.
Yeah, and then
managing
obviously
Sky.
Maddie as well. They just haven't had a good run of it. Be nice to see what their full squad looks like,
what they're capable of,
and how dangerous they can certainly be.
I think it was good to see Em Saffin. She got the best on the weekend for them. Came in, played a bit of wing attack, and then went into goal attack in the last quarter, and her and Sky combined really well together. I mean, they tried different things to see different combinations in the goals, moving goals, holding shooter. So I think Maddie would have taken a lot out of that and been able to sit on the sidelines and watch it all.
Yeah, absolutely.
While it's hard,
get that luxury normally.
Yeah, you don't. But while it's hard, because she'd love to be out there, it
right.
was a good opportunity to do that. So
terrific.
Last
game was Cobden taking on the Portland Tigers, and I'll tell you what, a good scoring effort again by the Portland Tigers, Kate. They shot 43, but the strength of the Cobden Bombers really shone. They shot 68 with a 25 goal victory.
Yeah, and I think it was the last quarter where they did their damage, 18-5.
18.
And that's where their fitness comes in, doesn't it? They grind out teams to at the very end.
And their structures, they're able to run them for a full 60 and wear teams down with their relentless defence. So they were really good. Sophie Blaine's versatility was on show. She played across all three mid-court positions and obviously, she's going to be their little secret weapon come finals. I think she's firing at the right time.
And interesting that Amy spoke about Alicia Blaine coming back from injury too. So, she comes into the makeup as well. Like, geez.
They are really...
Wow.
I think Portland are probably two good players off really challenging the sides above them. And I saw Remy Grant was best on for Portland.
Good player.
Yeah.
And they had a goal shooter, Hayley Reid, played, shot 23 goals. That was only... From? Yeah, I couldn't find that out on Netball Connect, but it was only her, either first or second game that she played for them. So, so they're out there trying to recruit and getting some players
good for next year.
I'd love to see Portland play finals. Like, they've been so close. Like, they're just, as you said, they're probably just a couple of players away from really being...
And they missed Talia Barr because she was out injured. Now she's prioritised basketball, obviously. Yeah. She's a beautiful little player.
Yeah. So, good win there by the Cobden Bombers. Now, I'm not sure whether we've got a ladder visual, but if we haven't, we can certainly go through the league ladder after round 15 with the split round, putting our tech man Logan.
While we're waiting on that, Trish.
Oh, yes.
When are finals looking to be announced for Hampton League?
Soon.
The venues.
No, it hasn't been decided yet. We have a meeting very soon. I guess it's just waiting to see how grounds are pulling up. Grounds were, last time when we set the junior finals, the grounds were pretty bad at that particular point in time. But I think we're getting some good weather, and I think we'll be able to put some
Does it generally work on a 2-year cycle or something like that? Is that how you try to work it to make sure that everyone has a fair sharing over 2 years?
We do try and change that around. It all comes
whether
down
it's a junior final or whether it's a senior final.
Yeah, that's it. We do try to give everyone a final, but sometimes the ground's not right to go, or something's happened. So, but
I'll tell you one thing.
The options are there.
From a football point of view, and even from a netball point of view, the DC Farron Oval's looking good, Nick. So
not from a netball point of view.
Not from a netball point of view.
The courts aren't right.
Yeah, right.
So that's a no.
So you guys keep pushing that. Not every day I hear it on the radio. I keep saying,
all right,
get over to the netball courts.
Here's the ladder. So after 15 rounds, South Warrnambool undefeated on top on 60. They're a game and a half ahead of the Bombers on 54. They're 3.5 games ahead of Koroit in 3rd place. North Warrnambool only by percentage in 4th position. And then we've got the Warrnambool Blues in 5th. Outside, we've got Hamilton on 34, followed by Terrain, Lake Portland, Camperdown and Port Fairy. Wow, big. The next 2 weeks huge for the Blues. Realistically, Koroit, North Warrnambool and Hamilton, the next 2 weeks are huge because that could really tell us who finishes top 3, but also finishes inside the top 5.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And Trish and I touched on this last week. We love how close this is. The coaches and the players probably don't, but I think it's really good for the competition and a viewership to know that you're going to games and they're going to be really close. This weekend there's some really good games. Koroit versus Hamilton is the first one that, that if Hamilton lose that, it's tough. If Koroit lose that, it's also really tough. So I'm excited.
Absolutely.
North play South,
Yeah.
Well, let's look at the games for this weekend. We'll get some tips and some expert thoughts. Or thoughts, I know about the experts. I'm joking.
Guesses.
All right, guesses as well. First game, Hamilton taking on Koroit. The Kangaroos are outside, only by half a game. Koroit are holding 3rd position, only by percentage. So much at stake for both sides. Where do you see this one falling?
Well, it's in Dunkeld.
It is
firstly.
too, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, big trek up to
Hey, Somerville territory, I reckon.
Yeah, I think it is too.
Yeah.
The Mermaids winning on the weekend is great for Koroit and also great for Warrnambool to have players not only available but also to be able to run out a full game at 100% because they don't have to back up for a basketball final. Look, I think Koroit will win and I think it will be tight, but I don't know. I think it will it'll come down to the battle in the middle between Millie Jennings and Kelly Somerville. I think that's going to be a really good one to watch. Yeah,
game should be fantastic. What are your thoughts?
I'm going to go Warrnambool.
Wrong game.
Oh, wrong game.
Hamilton.
I had Hamilton in my head. I don't know where it was.
We'll go there next.
We talked about basketball. I think Hamilton. I've seen them play a couple of times. They're very strong through the mid-court, and I agree that battle in the middle will be dynamite because Kelly's a really tough player through there. I'm thinking Hamilton.
Okay.
I don't know why. I'm just thinking that. Yeah.
Well, that was a little bit hesitant.
No, well, I mean, she played last weekend.
Okay.
Too. Yeah.
All right.
She's been pretty unwell.
I just like
my
giving you
my
little
head
snips.
says my head says Koroit because I think their form's good, but I want to see Hamilton win because I did say I wanted them in the top 5 at the start of the year. So I want the Kangaroos. So this is a game they need to win, but I think just on form-wise, I think Koroit are just playing a little bit better netball. Cobden take on Port Fairy. Tough task for the Seagulls. How did Cobden sort of go into this game, Trish, do you think, with the way they play? Do they sort of really... Well, Amy spoke about they've got their set 9 that they're playing with. So how do they sort of go into it in regards to positions and so forth?
I think they'll be doing the same as North did. They'll be trying different combinations. And as I said, Port Fairy had a few injuries on the weekend. It's going to be really affected this weekend. So it will be hard for them to see actually how they stack up, really. But I reckon Sophie's pretty astute. She'll have lots of different combinations. I wouldn't surprise if she doesn't play herself this weekend and sits back like Maddie and tries some different things out. But could be totally wrong on that one. But I just think sometimes it's good to sit on the sidelines and see what's happening. I think they'll do that.
I think Cobden will win this one easily. I agree with Trish. I think that it's an opportunity to experiment with their lineup. The Div 1 game is going to be a really good game too, so they're going to have to be mindful, Port Fairy, of if they've got unavailability, where are they pulling from, and how that load affects them in terms of quarters, but also mental capacity to be able to run out 2 games. So, I think Cobden quite easily, and I'd be interested to see where everyone lines up following on.
Absolutely. Terrain Mortlake take on Warrnambool, Kate. Big game for the Blues. You know, even though Terrain Mortlake are out of finals contention, they want to be the giant killers and start shaping the 5, and they can do that in a big way because the Blues, they need to keep on winning to try and maintain a spot in the 5. And as you said, with the Mermaids with the week off, that plays into their hands nicely, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It will mean that they're all fresh for their game. Terrain were good in patches on the weekend, and they'd be hoping that they can bring a full 4-quarter performance. Holly Castledine in great form up against maybe Belle Baker or Meg Carlin is going to be a really good matchup. But I think Warrnambool will win this. They're in really good form and want to continue that. And really, they wouldn't want to leave it up to the last week of the home and away to know if they're in or not. So put the foot down now.
Yeah, I agree. I think Warrnambool will win. I think they'll win well. I think Terrain Mortlake are trying juniors and putting lots in there. As you say, like it's happened in the past. There have been five shapers in the past, and maybe again, but I think Warrnambool. Yeah,
I think the Blue Baggers as well. North Warrnambool will take on South Warrnambool. Big game. The Roosters are just doing everything. Despite a couple of injuries and unavailabilities, they're still finding a way and winning pretty strongly. North, as you said, a little bit hamstrung with a few injuries and so forth. So the Roosters would obviously go into the game favourites.
Yeah, absolutely will be favourites, and I think they'll win. And I never pick usually against North.
Logan, record this. This is the first.
I think they'll win. I think, North's got a lot of...
you won't be allowed at the club for this weekend.
They'll be in big trouble. I think, South have got too much to just keep playing for, and... take out Ellie O'Connor, it's not really a big out for them at this particular point in time, I think. Well, she is a big out, let's face it.
But you'd rather her out now than 3 weeks' time.
They've got lots of people that can fill in the position. So, while they'll be weakened, they will beat North. And we know Annie Blackburn plays 200% against North, so she goes to a new level every time.
Is it too early to call them the minor premiers? Because they are going to be the minor premiers.
No,
definitely minor premiers.
No, they definitely deserve that.
And they deserve it too, don't they?
Yeah, they do. I think, North are obviously, managing players and unavailability. And South will win this one. It'll be great to have Holly back in the side. I imagine she's playing this week, and they'll fine tune a few things before their match up against Cobden the following week. Yeah,
that's going to be mouth-watering, that one. Last game, and I reckon this is a ripper. Camperdown taking on the Portland Tigers. With the form line that the Tigers are showing over the last couple of weeks, I think they go into the game as favourites, and that's where I'm leaning.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Yeah, really good.
I'm going to go Camperdown. It's a big road trip.
It is.
Well, I stuffed up this tip last time around because I tipped Portland last time, and Camperdown won, and then guess who I got the beanie
the other way around, I think.
I got the beanie off the great Emily Stevens. Steve-O sent me the beanie.
She did, I think it's a big road trip across there, and Portland have been plugging the holes a bit with players from around the region. Whether they'll travel to Camperdown, that's another thing. So I'm going to go Camperdown.
You want the Magpies?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I would love to say Camperdown because I think that they really deserve a win, but I think Portland will win. They've got a lot of experience in their side, and it's just around them getting together and really working as a cohesive unit. So I think that they'll get the win on a long road trip.
And that has come together a bit for them recently. Yeah, they've challenged a few good teams.
No, I think Portland will get the job done. I hope Camperdown don't win because Emily will probably send out a netball skirt or something for me this time to wear the beanie.
I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it.
Hey, great round 16 coming up. Who can believe it? 3 rounds to go in the Hampton Football Netball League, and then we'll start talking finals and Dot Jenkins medals and all of those great awards that are coming up over the coming weeks. Next week, we'll have a bit more of a look at the juniors because we've got our junior finals going on as well. So we'll give that a bit of a run through next week as well.
I've got a little, stats man.
Yeah.
I've got some goals. You like goal shooters?
I like the goals, right?
I've always been on the goal shooters. So up till today, our leading goal shooter is Holly Phillips on 668 goals. Emily Finch, 654, not far behind. Ebony Knights, 411. Nell Mitchell, 411. And Danielle Van Kolken, 377. Now, the reason I picked that up, I was telling Kate...
668.
Yeah. There was a girl in the Geelong League who...
Shot 1,000 or something.
Yes, on the weekend. She had to I don't know, 60 or something to
Something
get
like
there,
that,
and they just kept throwing it to her.
Yeah.
And I thought, challenge you, Holly. How many have you got to get? I don't think it's possible. No, it's not possible.
Including
She missed 2
finals
games.
or at home and away?
We'll allow finals.
All right.
We'll allow finals.
What's
you
you
need?
need?
So you get to 1,000.
332. South potentially have got only 5 games left.
Bit
Mathematically.
tricky.
She's going to have to shoot nearly 70 goals a game.
She's been shooting
Under.
about 50 or 60, to be
Yeah.
honest, but in finals it might be harder. But
Yeah.
anyway, we'll see.
Yeah, I like it. Nevertheless, a great season.
What a shame she missed those 2 games,
Yeah,
really.
every
because,
chance she could have got
yeah,
there.
could have got up
What a
there. It's a
gun.
lot of
I don't think we'll
goals.
see much of her really in the coming years. I think she'll go on
Yeah.
to bigger
Well, she's
things,
off at
maybe in
uni, so
Yeah,
she might
Melbourne,
try
potentially,
something.
yeah.
she'll have some
She'd
VNL
be on-
teams
yeah, I
down
think
there.
so
She'll be on the
too.
radar.
Yeah.
Superstar.
Absolutely.
Hey, that's the show, guys. Big shout out to our major sponsors, Power Core, Southwest TAFE, McDonald's and Sun Gold Milk, our major sponsors of the Hampton Football Netball League. 3 rounds to go. If you're not doing anything this Saturday, the weather looks pretty promising. Get out and see some great netball matches. Hamilton Croyd at Glen Thompson. I know it's a little trek, but I'll tell you what, it'll be one of the games of the season. But also, too, the North Warrnambool South should be a pretty fair game. Even Camperdown Portland as well would be a nice game to go see. So go and support the girls. They certainly like a big crowd, and netball is a very important component of the Hampton Football Netball League. Thanks, Kate. Thanks, Trish. Loved working with you guys once again, and we look forward to talking all things round 17 next Wednesday night.